The average gas price in Korea last week fell to below 1,700 won per liter for the first time in 5 weeks, with diesel prices also dropping for the fourth consecutive week.
지난주 국내 휘발유 평균 판매 가격이 5주 만에 리터당 1,700원 아래로 내려갔습니다. 경유의 평균 판매 가격도 4주 연속 하락세를 기록했습니다. Tell us more.
All right. Sue, are you a driver?
Yeah, I
Do you
am a
drive?
driver.
You drive to
yeah.
and from work?
I do, yeah.
Yes. So if you drive to work or if you have a car or if you have a job that requires you to pump gas, this is going to be good news for you.
Yes, definitely.
So
I
if you
always
have
check
your-
to see how much it is.
Right. So I drive some of the time and I take transportation or public transportation most of the time. But I also do every time I drive into my neighborhood, check the local gas prices.
Yeah.
And according to one online price tracker where these figures are from, the average price of gasoline stood at 1,691 won per liter. So
Right.
that is that's holding steady and it's down.
Yeah. It had been over 1,700 for a few weeks,
Right,
but
right.
as you said, it's now just under.
Right. So if you keep track of these things or if you have to, if this is going to actually affect your pocketbook, if this is something that, you keep an eye on for,
Yeah. Of course, these are
Maybe we
average
can-
prices. So we do see different regions and different gas prices depending on
Right.
where you are. But on average, this is what we're looking at.
Right. Are you one of those people that drives around for cheaper gas?
No, not really. I know some people do that.
Right,
But you can
right.
also check it, either online or, on your car. You have the monitor there. And if you search for how much it is, it all pops up. So you can choose
yes.
which one to go to.
Right.
But,
These days there's apps that show you how much it is
yeah.
per liter.
Yeah.
I don't go that detailed. I just go to the same place in my neighborhood all the
Right,
time.
right.
So it's either, I pay whatever whatever it's going for.
Exactly. Well, let's have a look at this expression here. Average gas price.
Average gas price. So average is obviously anything can be averaged. So you're taking, I think they do it on, it takes about 2 weeks for these prices to come out to be reflected. But if you take the average price here, it is, help me out here.
Oh, so you're getting all of the prices of the gas stations across the nation.
Yes.
And then you divide them by the number of gas stations and you
Right,
get the
right.
average gas price.
I was
right?
wondering what the duration was, though, is what my mind was
okay.
stumbling on.
It's a week. These are the weekly gas prices.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So yes, so the average is what we're talking about here, and so if it's down at 1,691 won, and that was for the fourth week of May, that's 11.9 won down from a week earlier.
Exactly. 자, 그래서 평균 휘발유 가격이라는 뜻인데요. average 뭐뭐뭐라고 얘기를 하면 되겠습니다.
Thank you, Sue.
No worries. And to say something is below something.
It's under something. It's
Yeah.
something. It's under something, or it doesn't reach something. It's not quite there. This is quite a general expression. You could use it for numbers. You could use it for. It doesn't have to be for a numerical. Any kind of measure. It can be for how you feel. So yeah, if something is a little bit under something,
Yeah.
that's when we use below.
보통 이제 무언가에 좀 못 미친다라는 의미로 below를 쓸 수 있어서 아까 average랑 같이 붙일 수 있어요. below average라 그러면은 평균에 못 미친다 이런 의미가 될 수 있겠고요. 여기서는 below 1,700라고 했으니까 1,700원 아래로 떨어졌다 이 의미가 되겠습니다. Here's the headline again. The average gas price in Korea last week fell to below 1,700 won per litre for the first time in 5 weeks, with diesel prices also dropping for the fourth consecutive week. Now let's move on to the next headline.
The Korea Aerospace Administration, or KASA, modeled after NASA, opens its doors today as the nation's full-fledged space agency, making its mark on the global space stage.
미국 항공우주국 나사를 모델로 한 우리나라의 우주항공청 카사가 본격 우주 전담 기관으로서 오늘부터 업무를 시작하며 세계 우주 무대에 첫 선을 보이게 됩니다. So we have our own
Yes.
CASA now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know you and Paul discussed this actually months ago when it was first released or when it was first announced that it was going to happen. And now it is actually opening its doors.
Did I discuss this before? Wow, you monitor this show better than I do.
You don't remember? It was months ago when it was first announced.
I see.
So
Yeah.
you're forgiven for not remembering this. This is probably many months of headlines ago, but I know that you and Paul discussed it. And then now the day is here. The administration, CASA, as I said, is going to open its doors officially and will be the nation's full-fledged space agency.
Right. As we can tell from the name, CASA, NASA, they kind of look very similar. Although the American agency, NASA, is the National Aeronautics and Space Agency, I believe.
Right.
But the Korean CASA is short for Korea Aerospace
Space.
Administration. So the words are slightly different.
Right.
although
Well, it's
the
not.
acronyms
It's just
yeah.
modeled after, so it's
Yeah.
not going to be an exact copy, but it's Korea's version of the well-known NASA.
Yeah, so I hope we'll have astronauts from CASA going to space,
Right,
and, you know,
right.
venturing out.
And that'd be great if any of them had a Korean flag on their sleeve of their
Fantastic.
astronaut
Yeah,
uniform.
Yeah, exactly.
I think when we were younger, though, I think, space travel was something that really captured our imagination. And then there was sort of a lull in that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
now it seems like countries are back in the space game.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it opens today, and the expression used here is it opens its doors today.
Opens its doors, so it can obviously be the physical doors of an organization or a business, but here it's a little bit more of just a symbolic meaning or a figurative meaning. So it's opening its doors, it's open for business, it's starting, it's officially, it's now
Beginning.
yes,
Yeah.
starting.
It's interesting because the Korean expression is exactly the same. We also say figuratively, 문을 열다.
Right.
And that can be both literal and figurative, same as English. 네, 우리도 이제 문을 열다 이걸 비유적으로 쓰기도 하고 진짜 문을 열 때 쓰기도 하지만 영어도 마찬가지입니다. 이렇게 비유적으로 쓸 때는 figuratively 쓴다라고 하고요. 그 다음에 그냥 말 그대로다 하면 literally라고 합니다. What about full-fledged?
Oh, full-fledged. This is another thing that we say a lot.
Yeah.
When something starts off in sort of an unofficial form, or it's maybe a different kind of form, or a different, maybe a bunch of different little organizations, and then when it's all officially, when it's fully developed,
Right.
and it comes together, it's full-fledged. Or maybe you're training to be something. Maybe you're training to be a barista or a school teacher or a doctor or whatever it may be. And once you're fully licensed, then you can say you are a full-fledged something.
아하, 완전히 자격을 갖췄다. 이런 의미로 full-fledged or fully fledged라고 합니다. 이 뒤에 fledged는요, 스펠링이 F-L-E-D-G-E-D가 되겠습니다. Here's the headline again. The Korea Aerospace Administration, or CASA, modeled after NASA, opens its doors today as the nation's full-fledged space agency, making its mark on the global space stage.
More than 20 people who were on a Singapore Airlines flight hit by severe turbulence are in intensive care with spinal injuries, according to the head of a Bangkok hospital.
극심한 난기류 피해를 입은 싱가포르 항공 여객기 탑승객 중 20명 이상이 척추 부상으로 집중 치료를 받고 있다고 태국 방콕의 병원 측이 밝혔습니다. So the accident itself, it happened roughly about a week ago, I think.
Right.
So tell us more.
And I would say, of all the stories that we're going to be discussing today, I would say that this one is the one that I think just had people talking
Yeah.
on social media
week,
and just,
yeah.
among friends and just in
Yes.
general. This is a story that I think because we can all imagine just the sheer terror of it. Anyone who's been on a flight, even with minor turbulence, knows the how scary that is.
Yeah.
So this flight heading out of London and was supposed to be going to Singapore, had to divert, make an emergency landing at Bangkok's Suvarnabhumi Airport.
Yeah.
And when when they landed. They had emergency crew and personnel waiting. But the injuries were quite severe. Everything from, cuts all over their faces to broken bones. And like we said earlier, spinal injuries. And also one gentleman in his 70s who passed away they say from a heart attack.
Exactly. Witnesses and people who were actually there said that, the plane suddenly dropped and people who were not wearing their seatbelts, they
Right.
sort of immediately, sort of launched into the
Right.
ceiling.
You would have hit your head
Yeah.
up on the ceiling of the plane. Now,
Sounds
when
scary.
the mandatory seatbelt light is on, when the mandatory seatbelt light is off, so when it's optional, are you a seatbelt on or off person?
I'm an
Sue?
on person.
You're an on person.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
likewise,
Yeah.
even when it's not on, even when the mandatory light isn't on, unless I'm going to the bathroom,
Right.
my seatbelt is on.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
you're otherwise, but when it's not on, you're free to roam the plane.
are,
You can
yeah.
walk around. You can, exercise up and down the aisles. And if you're, not belted in, you would have hit the ceiling.
Exactly. So as you said, this was no minor turbulence. This was actually severe turbulence. Let's look at that.
Severe turbulence. So yes, so it's talking about different degrees of turbulence. Obviously, we've been on flights with minor shaking or rolling, but this was the most severe of its kind, where the flight could not go on. There was a sudden drop, which I think that part is probably the scariest.
It is, yeah.
And so, yes, this is the most severe, the most extreme, the most dangerous on the scale.
극심한 난기류, 영어로는 severe turbulence라고 합니다. 기내 방송에서 we're experiencing a bit of turbulence, ladies and gentlemen. 이렇게 turbulence라는 단어가 나오면 그런 난기류를 말하죠. 자, 그다음에 intensive care라는 표현입니다. 이제 실제로 이 일이 있었던 것은 그 21일이었나요? It was a couple of days ago. 근데 그 이후로도 지금 계속해서 치료를 받고 있고 지금 방콕에 있는 병원 측에서 집중 치료를 받고 있는 환자가 20명 이상이다. 척추 부상까지 입었다라고 얘기를 하는데요. That's intensive care, right?
Intensive care, yes. And then when you need intensive care, you'd be going to the intensive care unit, and that we often shorten as the ICU.
Right.
So if you're in the ICU, you are being looked after. Probably around the clock, and you have very severe injuries. And yes, so these patients were immediately, ambulances were waiting on the ground and were
Right.
immediately taken to one of the hospitals there in the Bangkok area. And yes.
They're getting treated. 네, 지금도 치료를 받고 있고요. 이 중환자실을 intensive care unit라고 합니다. 그래서 ICU라고 줄여서 말을 해요. intensive care 집중 치료인데 이렇게 이제 중환자를 치료하는 곳이라는 의미로 ICU라는 표현 많이 쓴다는 거. 참고로 신생아 이제 중환자실 같은 경우에는 제가 알기로는 pediatric ICU, 그래서 PICU라고 하는 것 같아요.
Oh, is that what you guys call it in British English?
I think I don't know. I've just heard it somewhere. Is it different in America?
More familiar to probably North American ears is NICU, NICU. So probably the
그거군요.
newborn intensive
그게 맞겠네요.
care unit.
그러면 이 pediatric은 그냥 어린이가 될 수도 있겠네요.
Right,
maybe.
right. Specifically for the little babies that are born too early or they have
That makes sense.
some kind of other conditions that require them to be looked
그럴 것
after.
같네요.
It'd be the NICU, the NICU, yes.
NICU,
Yes.
네, 신생아 중환자실이 될 것 같습니다. 저도 이제 저희 딸이 태어났을 때 인큐베이터에 들어갔었거든요. 그래가지고 신생아 중환자실에 갔었는데 뭐였는지 이름이 생각이 안 나더라고요. 알려주셔서 감사합니다.
Sure.
자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. More than 20 people who are on a Singapore Airlines flight hit by severe turbulence are in intensive care with spinal injuries, according to the head of a Bangkok hospital. Now let's move on to the next headline.
A frustrated airline passenger has been filmed snapping the wheels off his suitcase to avoid having to pay extra luggage costs, much to the amusement of fellow travelers.
여객기 수화물 추가 요금 정책에 불만을 품은 한 승객이 이를 피하려고 기내용 캐리어 가방의 바퀴를 뜯어내는 장면이 포착돼 다른 승객들의 웃음을 자아냈습니다. Okay, so on a lighter note, tell us
Right.
what happened.
Still talking about flying, still
Yeah.
talking about, a story out of an airport, but on a slightly lighter level. So this is a story from Mallorca. And a man was about to board his flight, and he was told by airline personnel that he'd have to pay an extra $76 for his overweight baggage.
Right.
And that caused him to fly into a fury.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, well, I'm not going to pay the extra fine. I will do something about it. And he and his buddies just ripped the wheels
Yeah.
off his luggage.
Because it has to be a certain size,
Right.
right? And it was just barely over. And also, he said years and years ago, he only had to pay about $30,
Right.
but now it's like $70. And he thought, this is too expensive, and it's only barely over.
Right.
So I'm going to beat the system. I'm going to just tear the wheels off my suitcase.
My suitcase, yes.
what he
and
did,
if you
yeah.
go to the airport, they usually have like a little thing where you have to fit
Put it
the
in, yep.
suitcase or
Yep.
your backpack or whatever, and it has to fit the dimensions.
That's right.
And it was a little bit over, and airline personnel, they decided to be strict with this.
네.
He said, no, I'm not doing it. I'll just rip the wheels off.
네. 그 스페인의 이제 트래블러였다고 하고요.
Yes.
그다음에 이제 규격이 있잖아요. 그 규격 안에 들어가야 되는데 들고 갔었던 캐리온 백이 아주 살짝 넘은 거예요. 많이 넘은 것도 아니고 이게 뭐 몇 센치
Right.
하는 요거 그 안에 딱 들어가지 않고 살짝 넘어서 이제 벌금도 $75나 되니까 너무 비싸다.
That's expensive.
옛날에는 $30였는데 왜 이렇게 많이 올랐냐. 뭐 그러면서 좀 융통성 있게 좀 봐달라 했는데 안
Right.
됩니다. 그러니까 오케이. 그러면은 내가 바퀴를 떼버리지 뭐. 그래서 그 자리에서 바퀴를 막 이렇게 떼기 시작했어요. 친구랑 같이.
Right.
그래서 이거 옆에 주변에서 사람들이 비디오로 찍고 소셜 미디어에 올리는 해프닝이 있었습니다.
And if you watch the reaction of the other passengers
맞아.
at the airport there, once the wheels do come off, they all start cheering
Yeah,
and clapping.
exactly.
So I think there was a sort of a collective
맞아요.
happiness that he was able to sort of beat the system.
진짜. 그래서 결론적으로는 그래서 다시 올려놨더니 쏙 들어갔대요. 바퀴 떼니까. 그래서 벌금을 안 내도 됐답니다. 벌금이 아니라 저기 뭐라 그래야 되지? 추가 요금.
Right, right,
추가
right.
요금 안 내도 됐었대요.
Right. And he does say that was cheaper than probably the cost of his suitcase. So it was worth it for him.
Well, he was very frustrated, wasn't he?
He was quite angry with
Yeah.
with what he had to pay.
So frustrated. Tell us about this emotion.
Frustrated. So I think you're saying frustrated, right? I think that's
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
you're pronouncing it. Frustrated. It's like a combination of it's like angry, but it also includes a feeling of like not being able to do something. So if I were to put sort of a sound effect to it, it'd be like, ugh.
그런 느낌 맞아요. 답답하고 화도 나고 그래서 요런 이제 하는 요 느낌이 frustrated한 느낌입니다. 자, 그래서 너무 답답해서 바퀴를 떼냈어요. 주변 사람들은 아주 재밌어했습니다.
I think they were happy
Yeah,
for him and
it says
also
much to their amusement.
much to their amusement. So, when you're amused, it's like you're happy. And it's sort of like, when I think of the word amuse, you're just sort of like smiling,
Yeah.
like, Mona Lisa might.
Oh, okay.
Right? You're just like, you're very pleased with what's happening.
재밌다. 이런 느낌이 좀 있죠. Much to someone's amusement. 그러면 주변 사람들이 굉장히 즐거워했다라는 뜻입니다. 재밌어 했을 것 같아요. 아마 직원들도 뭐지 하면서도 재밌어 했을 것
Right.
같아요.
They were like,
What are you
what's this?
doing?
But they were
Yeah.
actually sort of, I feel
Smiling.
like, then sort of like internally cheering for him too,
Yeah.
rooting for him as well.
Exactly. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A frustrated airline passenger has been filmed snapping the wheels off his suitcase to avoid having to pay extra luggage costs, much to the amusement of fellow travelers. Now here's our final headline.
The iconic Home Alone house used in the 1990 film starring Macaulay Culkin is reportedly back on the market with an asking price of $5.25 million.
맥컬리 컬킨 주연의 1990년 영화 나 홀로 집에 사용된 유명한 주택이 호가 $525만 다시 매물로 나왔습니다. So I understand it's been 12 years since it was on the market. Now it's
Yes.
back on the market again. So
Right.
If you
Sue,
have the
look at
money,
me.
yeah, you would do. Ah, of course. Ah,
I'm doing the Kevin McAllister face.
yeah. So if you have the means, and if you want to live there, and if you like the movie, why not?
Right. So, a lot of people follow these sort of things. If you have a favorite movie or a series and there's a house or something that was featured in it, people will go
Yeah.
and make it a tourist spot. But in this case, you can do more than that. You can actually buy the house if you
can.
have $5.25 million that you're willing to spend on this. The outer part of the house, the exterior part of the house remains much the same as we recognize from this classic movie.
Yeah.
But the inside of the house, the interior of the house,
Right.
is said to be completely different,
I would
totally
imagine so.
renovated,
Right,
and
right.
completely unrecognizable,
Interesting.
modernized now.
네, 그렇습니다. 겉모습은 어쨌든 뭐 비슷하군요. 예전이나 지금이나. 물론
Yes.
안에는 그 세월의 그 변화를 많이 겪었겠죠. 그래서 인테리어도 뭐 큰 변화가 있고 그럴 것 같습니다만, 이게 상당히 큰 집이었잖아요.
Oh, yes,
네, 뭐
yes.
주택이 아니라 거의 대저택 정도가 되지 않을까 싶은데.
Right. With an
그렇습니다.
attic and a basement and
굉장히 큰
a
집이죠.
big kitchen.
네, 그렇습니다. 자, 12년 만에 다시 매물로 나온 집. 다시 나왔다. 이거 Be Back on the Market라고
Be
합니다.
back on the market, right? So originally, when it was put on the market, so we would say this in real estate or for
Right.
anything that is being sold, it would be put on the market. Something can hit the market. A new smartphone can be released on the market. So it's for sale now. In this case, for this particular story, something was off the market and now
Right.
it is back on the market.
That
So
is
to be
right.
back on the market, now it's back for sale.
네, 다시 시장에 나왔다. 이게 물건에 대해서도 쓸 수 있지만 사람한테도 쓸 수 있다는 것은
yes.
네, 잠시 후에 이 예문을 통해서 살펴보도록 하겠습니다. asking price는 뭘까요?
Asking price. So it's exactly how it sounds. It's what the people that are selling it want for it. This is their desired price that they want for it. So they have put this house on the market for $5.25 million, and that is the asking price for it. That's what you want for it. That doesn't mean that the person that's going to buy it will pay that amount.
Right.
If there's any negotiations, that asking price might be brought down.
asking price라는 게 이제 호가. 이만큼을 달라라고 하는 겁니다. 미국에서 이제 부동산 거래하는 게 우리나라랑 좀 다르긴 해요. 그래서 그렇지 않나요?
Oh, I'm wondering what you're going to say about the Korean real
네.
estate market.
미국에서는 어퍼를 하잖아요. 들어가고 싶은 사람 내가 이만큼
Yes.
주겠다.
Right.
그러면 주인이 이제 조금 고려해보고 오케이 뭐 이렇게 아니면 no
Right.
이렇게 하는데 한국에서는 그런 오퍼를 이제 주지
Is that
않아요.
not how it works?
No.
Okay, right. So in
주인이 이제 가격을 말하면
there's an asking price.
그렇죠. 이제 그거 이제 할 수
yes.
있는 사람이 사는 거죠. 네, 조금
yes.
다른 것 같아요.
Uh-huh.
네, 어쨌든 asking price라는 게 부르는 값입니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. The iconic Home Alone house used in the 1990 film starring Macaulay Culkin is reportedly back on the market with an asking price of $5.25 million. Okay, and those were our headlines. 아까 그 신생아 중환자실에 관해서 그리고 소아 중환자실에 관해서 실제로 그 이 업계에 계신 분들이 알려주셨습니다. 서혜경님, 박용래님, 1601님 등 다수의 청취자분들이요. NICU, Neonatal Intensive Care Unit가 신생아 중환자실이고 그다음에 PICU, Pediatric Intensive Care Unit는 소아 중환자실이다라고 알려주셨습니다. 그래서
very
1개월 미만의 아기인지 1개월 이상의 아기인지 요거를 기준으로 한다고 하네요.
I think I said newborn probably earlier in conversation, but neonatal
이거네요.
intensive care unit. So thank you for writing in with that.
네, now it's all rushing back the memories. I think I saw Now I remember.
When you were taking your
Yeah.
daughter there.
I just couldn't remember.
It's probably
that
a crazy
memory.
time.
Yeah, exactly.
The increase in food prices outpaced the growth of people's disposable income in the first 3 months of the year, a trend that has continued for 7 consecutive quarters, according to Statistics Korea.
통계청에 따르면 올해 1분기 먹거리 물가 상승률이 가처분 소득 증가율을 웃돌았으며 이런 추세가 7개 분기 연속으로 지속된 것으로 나타났습니다. Oh dear, we've been talking about food getting more and more expensive, but it looks like the rate that it's getting more expensive.
Yeah, it's outpacing, the rate that we're earning. If we look
Yeah.
at the average disposable income for Korean households, In the first quarter, it was 4,046,000 won. And that was up 1.4% from a year earlier. Good news!
Yeah.
We have more money to spend, but in comparison, prices at restaurants were up by 3.8% in the first quarter. And that's 2.8 times higher than the growth of the disposable income. And then prices of processed food products increased by 2.2%. Again, that's 1.6 times larger than the growth of disposable income. So what we're seeing is for 7 consecutive quarters, ever since the third quarter of 2022, we've seen food prices rising at a higher rate than our disposable income rate.
지금 계속 나온 단어가 disposable income인데요.
네.
가처분 소득입니다. 가처분 소득이 증가한 레이트, 이 증가율보다 음식, 그 먹거리 물가 상승률의 이 레이트가 더 빨리 오르고 있다, 더 비싸지고 있다라는 얘기를 볼 수 있겠고요. I don't know. I mean, how much more expensive do things have to get?
Well, they're going to get more expensive whether we like them or not, Sue. At least for the
dear.
foreseeable future, we've got, I think, more price rises. I was reading the other day on the way for snacks and other bits and pieces.
Yeah.
We're out of pocket because it's outpacing our rate of disposable income increase.
And that's our first expression, to outpace.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a runner in the Olympics this summer, this is the word you want to be using about yourself. You want to outpace the others, meaning you want to run faster than them. So when we have a rate of something outpacing another rate, it means it's increasing by a larger amount.
네. outpacing이라는 것은 누구보다 속도가 빠르다라는 뜻입니다. So if you were to outpace me, which I'm sure you would, you're much taller and you have longer legs.
I have a larger body mass, though.
Still, then that means you would go faster than me.
Exactly, yes. So we use this generally when talking about speed, but we can also use it about the rate of increase of something.
That's right. 앞지르다의 느낌으로 보시면 될 것 같아요. 이제 보폭이 점점 빨라져서 더 빨리 가는 거니까 이 경우에는 수치에 관한 얘기죠. 어떤 이제 rate, percentage 그런 것들에 관해서는 앞지르고 앞서가고 있다라는 뜻인데 disposable income보다 여기서 먹거리의 물가 상승률이 outpacing 한다고 했습니다.
Yeah, so your disposable income is the money you have left over after you've paid your taxes and your rent and all the things you need.
Yep.
The disposable income is the money that you spend or save. Maybe you spend it on luxuries. Maybe it's on chocolate bars and chips and crisps. Or maybe it's on saving for your retirement or saving for a holiday. It's the money that we have left over that we can spend if we choose to do so.
네, disposable이라는 거는 처분 가능하다라는 단어예요. 그래서 disposable income이 하나의 표현으로 가처분 소득이 되겠습니다. Here's the headline again. The increase in food prices outpaced the growth of people's disposable income in the first 3 months of the year, a trend that has continued for 7 consecutive quarters, according to Statistics Korea. Here's our second headline.
Koreans scored an average of 677 points out of 990 on the TOEIC last year, ranking 16th out of 44 countries worldwide and 5th among their Asian peers.
네. 지난해 우리나라 토익 응시자의 평균 성적이 990점 만점에 677점으로 전 세계 44개국 중 16위, 아시아 국가 중에는 5위를 기록했습니다. Tell us more.
So we're up from 2022. In 2022, we were 675 points, and now we're up 2 points to 677. And I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank all the teachers at EBS. Because they do a very hard job, and I think they help a lot of students when it comes to learning English and learning exams. Because TOEIC is hard. It's
Yeah.
English language, listening, and reading proficiency. And a lot of people take it. I think there was one test developer based in the US. They were looking at 3.22 million people who took the tests last year. We're not number one, but we're doing pretty well. 16th out of 44 and 5th in Asia. Lebanon happened to score the most, an average score of 834. Germany was in second place with 819. But hey, German's similar to English.
Yeah.
Then Belgium in third place with 784, followed by Costa Rica and then India. These all have an advantage over Korea in terms of their relationship to the English language. But we're doing really, really well to be fourth in Asia. Jordan was first. And then we have Chinese, Japanese and Taiwanese also doing well, but not doing as well as us.
자, 이 TOEIC이라는 게 Test of English for International Communication의 약자죠. 전 세계적으로 봤을 때는 1위가 레바논이네요. 그 다음엔 독일, 벨기에, 코스타리카, 인도 순입니다. 아시아에서는 요르단, 그 다음에 필리핀, 중국, 일본, 대만 이런 순이네요. Very interesting. Okay, let's have a look at this expression here, the score.
Yeah, here we're using it in the verb form. Of course, we can use it in the noun form to mean the score we get, meaning the number of points. But if we score whatever number of points,
Right.
that also means the number of points we get. So we're using it in a very similar way. It has a very similar meaning in the verb form, but we're using it as a verb instead of a noun.
네, score가 명사로도 동사로도 쓰이는데 여기서는 동사로 쓰였다고 보면 되겠습니다. 이러이러한 점수를 기록했다. 자, 그다음에 peers라는 표현을 한번 볼게요.
Well, if you look closely at the word peer, you'll see it can mean to look at something, but it can also mean something else. And the something else is our meaning here, and that is your colleagues or your fellow students, basically people of a similar age or status or position. In this case, the people who are taking the TOEIC test, just like you.
아, 그래요. 그러니까 여기서 peers라는 것이 원래는 이제 또래, 동년배 이런 뜻이 있는데 여기서는 아시아 국가들 중에서 한국이 5위다라고 했잖아요. 그래서 다른 나라들을 peers, P-E-E-R-S, peers라고 본 겁니다. 아, 이거 순위 다시 한번 좀 말씀드릴게요. 아시아권에서 1위가 레바논이고 2위가 인도, 3위 요르단, 4위 필리핀, 그리고 5위 우리나라가 되겠습니다. 그 다음에 이제 보면은 중국, 대만, 일본 이런 순으로 이제 나왔네요. 전 세계에서는 역시 레바논이 1위고 2위는 독일, 3위는 벨기에, 4위 코스타리카, 5위 인도가 되겠습니다. Here's the headline again. Korean scored an average of 677 points out of 990 on the TOEIC last year, ranking 16th out of 44 countries worldwide and 5th among their Asian peers.
Powerful storms and tornadoes have swept across central areas of the US, resulting in dozens of casualties, knocking out power to hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses across the region, and delaying the start of the iconic Indianapolis 500.
강력한 폭풍우와 토네이도가 미국 중부 지역을 휩쓴 결과 수십 명의 사상자가 발생하고 해당 지역 수십만 가구와 업체의 전기가 끊겼으며 유명 자동차 경주 대회인 인디 500 행사도 연기됐습니다. Tell us more.
The past couple of weeks have been really awful for this part of the US. We're talking Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Kentucky. At least 15 people were killed. In Texas, there were another 100 injured, with the tornado destroying more than 200 homes and other buildings and damaging another 120. There was another in Dallas that knocked out power lines. And just 5 days previously, there were tornadoes that killed 5 and injured dozens in Iowa. And then 2 weeks before that, I don't know whether you saw the footage of the very, very scary storms that were slamming Houston. And then, to top it all, the Indianapolis 500, which is like the big event for those who love racing in the US, had to be delayed on Sunday because of this impending inclement weather. And they had to ask the 125,000 fans to basically... we need you to leave because they're there for a few days normally. It's a big event. Camp out, have barbecues, do whatever.
Yep.
And they said seek shelter because it's not going to be safe. So it's a very big deal in the States right now. Wishing everyone stays safe,
Right.
stay indoors, and avoid the tornadoes.
There was a big word that stood out for me just there during your explanation, and that
Yes.
was inclement. So when we talk about bad weather, we could just say bad weather.
Yeah.
But a sort of fancier word for it.
Is inclement weather.
Inclement.
So clement means pleasant. So clement weather means, oh, the sun is shining, the wind is blowing softly.
Yeah.
Inclement weather means it's raining cats and dogs.
Not good. I-N-C-L-E-M-E-N-T. Inclement weather. 라고 하면 역시 악천후를 얘기합니다. 좋지 않은 날씨라는 뜻인데요. 자, 한번 보도록 하겠습니다. Dozens of casualties arose from this.
Yeah, which is multiples of 12. And this is an expression we use. For some reason, growing up as humans over the centuries,
Yeah.
we've used base 10, but we've also used base 12 sometimes.
That's right.
If you look at the clock, for example, we tell the time in 12. So
Yeah.
dozens is a very common expression. We're only going to use it up to, the 100 mark, for example. So when dozens is going to be under 100, but more than just 24. It's going to be
Right.
36, 48, 60, 72. 80, 84, 96. I
You
think
can
that's what
stop. You can
12
stop
times
now.
table.
And don't ask me because I can't help you there.
Donut, ask you.
All right, so dozens of something. 그러면은 쉽게 말해서는 수십 개란 뜻이지만 아니면 수십 명, 사람이 될 수도 있고 물건이 될 수도 있고요. 그렇지만 사실 이 dozen이라는 단어는 12개, 12명이라는
Yeah.
뜻입니다.
Well, pop quiz for you, Sue. How many eggs are there in a Korean carton?
2 dozen?
Is it dozens?
I don't know. Is it?
I thought Koreans used a different measurement for eggs.
know.
Because in the UK, it's
Yeah.
a dozen or a half dozen or 2 dozen.
Okay.
Have I got this wrong? I might have got this wrong. I apologise if I have.
I bought eggs recently. I forget how many were on.
계란 한 판 몇 개 있어요?
여러분 알려주세요. 계란 한 판이 최근에 샀는데 기억이 안 나네. 예, 이거 우리도 뭐 한 다스 뭐 이런 말 쓰지 않았었나요 예전에? 이게 여기서 온 것 같은데. 예, 모르겠습니다만 영어에서는 어쨌든 제가
I'm terribly
설명드릴게요.
sorry. Move away from the eggs.
음식 뭐 이런 거에 대해서 질문하지 말아주시길 좀 부탁드릴게요. 잘 몰라요.
죄송합니다. 잘못했습니다.
네, 이 dozen이라는 영어 표현은 제가 그래도 확실히 아니까 말씀을 드릴게요.
앞으로 열심히 하겠습니다.
그러실 필요는 없고요. 원래는 12개, 12명이라는 뜻이지만 dozens of something 그러면은 이게 그냥 수십 개, 수십 명이라는 뜻입니다. 네, 그래서 여기서는 dozens of casualties, 사상자가 수십 명 나왔다. We're talking about death and injuries, that's casualties together.
Yes.
And it knocked out power in a lot of areas.
Yeah, to knock out power, to cut out power, to cause a blackout, they all mean the same thing, is that you have no power. And the suggestion of knocked out power is it's being done through force. So it's not like someone's cut a cable, it's as if the wind has blown down the power lines. So we use this term especially with tornadoes and storms or blizzards, when it feels like the wind or the pressure from the weather is actually knocking down cables or knocking down power lines.
네, knock out라는 게 이제 우리 뭐 KO 그 복싱 할 때 그때 쓰기도 하지만 knock out라는 것 자체가 무언가를 이렇게 쳐서 쓰러뜨리다 이런 의미가 있어서요. 파워 전력을 이제 나가게 한다. 전력이 끊겼다는 얘기입니다. Knocked out power. The tornadoes and the storms knocked out power in the central areas of America. And going back to the eggs, our lovely listeners have
Yes.
helped out. They
Okay.
said 한국에서는 계란 한 판은 30개.
네, 맞아요. It's in tens, not dozens.
죄송합니다. 제가 잘 몰랐어요.
이제 알겠어요?
이제 알겠습니다. 그러네요. 우리는 그러면은 dozens로 셀 수가 없네요. 30개니까.
오, 계란?
근데 영국에서는 보통 그러면은 24개, 뭐 12개
Yeah,
이렇게
half a
한다는
dozen,
거죠?
a dozen,
okay.
2 dozen, and so on.
Got it.
I thought it was multiples of 10, you see?
There you go. You're right.
I am,
Yeah.
always.
I'm very embarrassed. But let me read the headline again. Powerful storms and tornadoes have swept across central areas of the US, resulting in dozens of casualties, knocking out power to hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses across the region, and delaying the start of the iconic Indianapolis 500. I hope I pronounced that right.
You did.
Well, let's move on to the next headline.
Scientists have discovered a theoretically habitable planet, smaller than Earth but bigger than Venus, orbiting a cool red dwarf star about 40 light years away.
국제연구팀이 지구보다 작지만 금성보다는 크며 약 40광년 밖에 차가운 적색 외성 주위를 돌고 있는 외계 행성을 발견했습니다. 이 별은 이론상 사람이 살 수 있는 조건을 갖춘 것으로 알려졌습니다. We all moving to this new planet.
I'm not sure perhaps Elon Musk is packing his bags right now, but this is quite interesting. I don't think we'll move there in our lifetime. It's called Gliese 12b. Not a very catchy name, but that's what it is.
Okay.
And it's orbiting this cool red dwarf star in the constellation Pisces. The star, the red dwarf, is about a third the size of our sun and about 60% of its temperature. It seems like it may be possible to live there because it's at the ideal distance, what they call the habitable zone, where life can be sustained. The funny thing is, one orbit is only 12.8 days, as opposed to 365 days for us.
Okay.
So we're not sure. What they're trying to find out is whether there's water, because water sustains life. But certainly, who knows, if we have to move off Earth, this might be one of the options.
But if we were to live on this planet, does that mean we would grow older quicker? Because it goes around the sun every 12 days, did you say?
No, but that doesn't affect how we age.
Oh,
that
okay.
just affects the seasons.
All right. Shows how much I know about aging.
Did you fall asleep during Interstellar and you've misremembered?
Yeah, I
The
don't-
aging thing is about wormholes and black holes.
Okay.
If you're getting towards the edge of a black hole, that's when time distorts, and that's when Matthew McConaughey has that kind of issue. Sue,
I never
don't
understood
worry.
that movie.
You're gonna get older at the same pace as everyone else.
Okay. All right, the first expression here is habitable.
Yes, which means you're able to live there. It is
Yeah.
a habitat that is suited. Yeah, so this term habitat is somewhere that something or someone lives.
Yep.
So if it's habitable, it means it's suitable for us to live in.
네, 살 수 있는, 주거할 수 있다는 뜻의 habitable. 이 habit가 들어간 단어들이 살 수 있다라는 의미가 있어서 habitat라고 하면은 이제 주거 서식지라는 의미로 아니면 주거지가 될 수도 있거든요. habitable 이렇게 발음을 하나요?
That's how I say it. I don't know
Okay.
how you say it.
I wasn't sure. So I was
Habitable. Habitable.
I was gonna ask you,
Habitable
actually.
or habitable, both are okay.
그래요. 그래서 UN 기구 중에도 그 habitat가 들어간 게 있잖아요. 살 수 있는 그런 의미가 있습니다. 그다음에 orbit예요.
Well, that's the journey that a smaller sized object makes around a larger sized object in space. Sometimes a circle or sometimes more like an egg, an oval.
궤도를 돌다 orbit 한다라고 말합니다. Here's the headline again. Scientists have discovered a theoretically habitable planet, smaller than Earth, but bigger than Venus, orbiting a cool red dwarf star, I should say, about 40 light years away. And here's our final headline.
Oh, so did you want it in English?
Oh,
I was
yes,
doing it for the
please.
crows. Sorry. A new study has found that crows can vocally count up to 4, and that the way the inquisitive birds recognize and react to numbers is similar to a process we humans use.
까마귀가 울음소리로 숫자 4까지 셀 수 있으며 이들이 숫자를 인식하고 거기에 반응하는 방식이 인간과 유사하다는 새로운 연구 결과가 나왔습니다.
I think you'll find it's pronounced magui.
The old saying, being bird-brained
Yes.
is wrong.
Well, the thing is, we've known for a long time that corvids, and this is this species of bird, this type of bird, including crows and magpies and ravens, are very, very clever.
Yeah.
And they're puzzle solvers, and they remember people, they can recognize you. And now these scientists have worked out that not just like chimpanzees and humans, but it's crows as well that can count. And they're using a very similar process to us. They did a study where they had visual and auditory cues. So they'd have the numbers 1 to 4, and they'd produce the corresponding number of caws. So number 1 would be number 2 would be number 3 would be and so on.
Yeah.
And they found that the crows could recognize that, and they would see the number, and then they would be able to repeat the number of caws that related to it, and then they would peck the enter button on a touch screen, which is really remarkable. And they would get a treat, of course. I have to say, because humans are involved, there's always a bit of thinking where you're going, well, you humans set this up to do this, so how
Yeah.
much of your involvement is affecting the process? But it's just confirming once again that crows are really, really smart.
Yeah.
And you should always be kind to them because they will remember you and they will take revenge.
네, 이 까마귀과의 새들을 corvid라고 합니다. COVID가 아니고요.
네.
CORVID라고 해서 이제 그 crows, magpies,
Ravens.
여기는, 그렇죠. 여기 이제 뭐 까치, 그다음에 까마귀
네.
아마 다 들어갈 것 같아요. 그래서 이 까마귀과의 새들을 그렇게 부르는데 굉장히 똑똑하다는 것이 여러 연구에서 그동안에도 나왔지만 이번에 새로 밝혀진 것은 소리를 내서 4까지 셀 수 있다는 것 굉장히 놀랍죠. 자, 그 표현 보도록 하겠습니다. Vocally do something.
Yeah, if you do something vocally, you do it with your voice. For example, I can agree with Sue vocally or physically. Vocally, I say yes. Physically, I nod my head, which you can only see on the Boynan radio. Yeah, so vocally means we're using our vocal cords, we're using our voice.
네, 목소리를 이용해서 한다라고 할 때 vocally 한다라고 하고요. 이 새들을 표현하면서 inquisitive birds라고 했습니다.
I wonder what that means. I guess there's a QU in it, and QU sounds a little bit like question. Maybe question has something to do with inquisit. Or does inquisit mean to ask? Is to be inquisitive to ask questions? To be curious? I think it might be.
I think Paul is being very inquisitive right
Doing
now.
the best, yes.
굉장히
I-
호기심이 많고 탐구심이 많은 거죠.
You know, inquisitive people always know the number of eggs in a carton.
I'm not then. I'm not inquisitive. There you go. Happy now? 자, inquisitive라는 게 이제 이렇게 굉장히 호기심이 많고
네.
뭔가 계속 질문을 던지는 이라는 뜻인데 이 까마귀가 똑똑하기 때문에 이렇게 표현을 했고 사람한테도 정말 많이 써요. This person is very inquisitive and it's good to be inquisitive.
Why?
Because you want to learn new things.
Why?
And you want to grow
Why?
and become more intelligent.
Why?
Because it's time for us to move on.
Why?
Here's the headline again. A new study has found that crows can vocally count up to 4, and that the way the inquisitive birds recognize and react to numbers is similar to a process we humans use. And that's it for the headlines.
The latest report by Statistics Korea predicts that the population of Sejong City and Gyeonggi Province will grow by 2052, while all 15 other provinces and cities across the nation will see a decline, with Seoul's population anticipated to dwindle to around 7 million.
통계청은 최신 보고서에서 2052년까지 세종시와 경기도의 총 인구수는 증가하는 반면 나머지 15개 시도는 감소해 서울의 경우 700만 명대로 줄어들 것으로 전망했습니다. All right, tell us more.
Yeah, so Statistics Korea has forecast that Seoul's population is expected to dwindle to around 7.93 million in 2052. And it predicted that the population for the central administrative city of Sejong and Gyeonggi province will grow, while those in other 15 major cities and provinces will decline. So under the median estimate, the nation's total population would expand from 51.67 million in 2022 to 51.75 million by 2024, before dropping to 46.27 million in 2052. But as for Seoul, the capital's population is forecast to fall by 15.8% from 9.42 million in 2022 to 7.93 million by the year 2052.
네. 자, 2022년 데이터를 기준으로 봤을 때 30년 후인 2052년에는 우리나라의 인구수가 어떨 것인가에 대한 전망이 바로 어제 나왔습니다. 통계청 Statistics Korea라고 하는데요. 발음이 쉽지 않죠?
Yes.
저 예전에 처음 뉴스 했을 때 요 statistics
Yeah.
요것만 정말 여러 번 말했던 기억이 나거든요. Statistics Korea가 이제 발표한 보고서에 따르면 2052년에는 전국 17개 시도 중에서 세종시와 경기도만 인구수가 늘고 나머지 15개는 다 감소할 것이다. 특히 서울은 우리가 이제 항상 1000만,
Yeah.
1000만 이렇게만 저는 늘 외워왔었는데 그게 이제 다 과거 얘기예요. 앞으로는 2052년에는 700만으로 많이 줄 것이다. 이렇게 예상이 된답니다.
Yep.
All right. So there are many words to say 예상하다 or 전망하다. The word used here is anticipate.
Right, right. So, like you said, there are lots of different expressions that we could use. One that's used a lot is forecast, but here we used anticipate, and it means you can use it when you're taking action in preparing for something that you think will happen, or it implies taking action about or responding to something before it happens.
Exactly. 자, 예상하다, anticipate something to happen. 이렇게 얘기를 합니다. If we look at 경기, it looks like people will continue to move out of other cities or provinces to Gyeonggi province,
Right.
and that's why there's going to be an increase in population. Same with Sejong, because they do have government complexes
Yes.
there, and it looks like a lot of people will continue to move there, to work there.
Yeah.
But everywhere else, we're seeing a dwindling birth rate, and that's going to add to the dwindling population.
Right, right. So when something dwindles, it means it becomes less in number or it becomes smaller. So it's diminishing or it's becoming gradually smaller in size. It could be amount or it could be also strength.
Yeah. So dwindle, diminish, decline, drop. They all mean to go down.
Yeah.
And they all begin with D.
Yep.
For some reason.
For some reason.
네, 점점 줄어들다 이런 뜻입니다. 다시 한번 제가 헤드라인을 읽어볼게요. The latest report by Statistics Korea predicts that the population of Sejong City in Gyeonggi Province will grow by 2052, while all 15 other provinces and cities across the nation will see a decline, with Seoul's population anticipated to dwindle to around 7 million. Let's move on to the next headline.
The annual burden on electricity bills for a four-person household will be reduced by around 8,000 won from next year, and departure fees imposed on travelers will be reduced from 10 to 7,000 won per person.
내년부터 4인 가구의 연간 전기요금 부담이 약 8,000원 줄어들고 여행객에게 부과되는 출국 납부금도 1인당 10,000원에서 7,000원으로 낮아집니다. So these are measures announced by the government to really tackle inflation and higher living costs and things like that.
Right.
Tell us more.
Right. So we have been seeing a major increase in inflation. It's been affecting households. So they're trying to lower the burden on consumers.
Yeah.
So starting in July, the government is planning on reducing the levy on electricity bills in phases. So the cabinet has approved of 13 enforcement ordinances, including the electricity fee revision as a follow-up to a levy adjustment plan that was announced back in March. So the existing 3.7% levy for electricity will drop to 3.2% starting from July,
Right.
which will be further cut to 2.7% by July next year. And the adjustment will hopefully help reduce the annual burden for four-person households by around 8,000 won, or about $5.90. And meanwhile, for these fees that are imposed on travelers heading abroad, that will also be reduced from 10 to 7,000 won per person,
Right.
while the exemption for children will expand from covering children up to the age of 1 to covering children up to the age of 11.
자, 그러니까 지금 여러 가지 얘기가 나왔어요. 정부가 이제 물가 대책을 내놓은 건데 일단은 전기요금 얘기부터 좀 해보면은 설명을 해주신 대로 전기료를 연간 8,000원 정도씩 줄이는 방향으로 가는 건데 4인 가구 기준이고요. 연간 8,000원이니까 이거를 이제 12개월로 나누게 되면은 한 달에 한 667원이라고 합니다.
Yeah.
네, 약이 아니네요. 그 정도가 되고. I was trying to be rough there, and then I went right down to the very last one. So around 600원.
Yeah.
그 다음에는 이제 그 다음에 얘기했던 게 그 fees imposed on travelers라고 했어요. 이거는 뭐냐면은 항공 요금에 포함되는 이 출국세라고도 우리가 하거든요. 출국 납부금 이건데 이게 이제 10,000원에서 7,000원으로 줄어들고 그 다음에는 원래 이제 2살까지 면제였는데 12살까지 면제되는 걸로 확대가 됩니다. 그래서 조금이라도 부담을 좀 줄이려는 그런 움직임으로 볼 수 있겠고.
Yeah.
그럼 부담. 영어로 뭐라 그러죠? 부담?
It's burden. So, it could be like a duty or responsibility that causes worry or difficulty, or it could be hard work. It could also be money, money that causes, it causes concern for you or causes stress for you.
네. 부담, burden. 둘 다 부 발음으로 시작을 하는데 the government is trying to lessen that burden. And they are going to impose certain fees, but not so much as before.
Right. So when the government is imposing something, it's officially enforcing a rule. It could be a tax in this case, or it could be a punishment that is to be obeyed or received.
Impose something이라고 하면은 무언가를 부과하다라는 뜻입니다. 그래서 현재 부과되는 항공요금에 들어가서 이제 부과되는 출국 납부금 같은 경우는 10,000원에서 7,000원으로 줄어든다라는 얘기였는데 거기서 departure fees imposed on travelers will go down 이런 식으로 표현을 하고 있습니다. 다시 한번 제가 헤드라인을 읽어보겠습니다. The annual burden on electricity bills for a four-person household will be reduced by around 8,000 won from next year, and departure fees imposed on travelers will be reduced from 10 to 7,000 won per person.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has acknowledged that a deadly airstrike on the southern Gaza city of Rafah was a tragic mishap as Israel faces increasing international pressure over its war with Hamas.
하마스와 전쟁을 벌이고 있는 이스라엘의 국제사회 압박이 가중되는 상황에서 베냐민 네타냐후 이스라엘 총리는 사상자가 나온 가자지구 남부 라파의 난민촌 공습이 비극적 실수였음을 시인했습니다. Tell us more.
Right. So the prime minister has acknowledged that this tragic mishap was made as the Israeli strike was made in the southern Gaza city of Rafah. The attack was made Sunday night local time. It set fire to a camp housing displaced Palestinians. Officials say it has killed at least 45. And this is according to the Gaza Health Ministry and the Palestinian Red Crescent Rescue Service. The ministry said that the dead included at least 12 women, 8 children, and 3 older adults, with another 3 bodies burned beyond recognition. So the Israeli prime minister did not elaborate on the error, but Israel's military initially had said that it carried out a precise airstrike on a Hamas compound, killing 2 senior militants. So as details of the strike and fire emerged, the military said that it had opened an investigation into the deaths of the civilians.
네, 그렇습니다. 자, 공습이 있었어요. 이스라엘에서 가자지구로 공습, 영어로 airstrike라고 합니다. 그 airstrike로 인해 많은 사상자가 나왔는데요. 영어로는 the airstrike resulted in many casualties. 그러니까 사망자와 부상자를 합친 게 바로 casualties가 될 텐데 deaths만 놓고 봤을 때도 상당히 많습니다. 45 you said at least,
Yeah.
and they include women and children as well.
Yeah.
그래요. 자, 그래서 이스라엘 측에서 이번 공습에 대해서 실수였다. 비극적 실수였다라고 인정을 했습니다. 시인했어요. 이 표현들을 보도록 하겠습니다. Let's first of all look at acknowledging something.
Right. When you acknowledge something, you accept or admit the existence, or in this case, the truth of something.
acknowledge가 뭔가 시인하거나 인정할 때 쓰는 표현입니다. 자, 그 다음에 비극적 실수였습니다라고 네타냐후 총리가 얘기를 했는데 실수라는 말을 이제 영어 그 외신 기사들에 보면은 여러 표현이 나오긴 해요. mistake라는 표현도 쓸 수 있지만 이 단어도 씁니다. mishap.
Mishap, right. So it's an unlucky accident or an unpredictable outcome that is unfortunate.
자, M-I-S-H-A-P 이렇게 씁니다. 그래서 mishap라는 게 그 안 좋은 사고라는 의미도 있지만 여기서는 어떤 실수의 의미로 볼 수 있을 것 같고요. 실제로는 이제 영어로 이걸 인터뷰를 한 게 아니기 때문에 번역하는 과정에서 다양하게 번역이 되고 있습니다만 a tragic mishap, a tragic mistake, a tragic error 뭐 등등등 여러 가지 표현으로 외신에서 보도가 되고 있습니다.
Yeah.
자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has acknowledged that a deadly airstrike on the southern Gaza city of Rafah was a tragic mishap as Israel faces increasing international pressure over its war with Hamas. Now let's move on to the next headline.
New York City hotel rooms are averaging over $300 a night as many hotels exclusively house migrants, reducing supply during a tourism boom and propelling the nightly cost of an average room to record levels.
뉴욕의 많은 호텔들이 이민자 전용 쉼터로 쓰이자 관광 성수기의 객실 공급이 줄어들어 평균 1박 요금이 기록적인 수준으로 치솟으면서 현재 뉴욕시 호텔의 하루 숙박 요금이 평균 $300를 넘어서는 것으로 나타났습니다. So in Korean won, that would be around 40만 원.
Yeah.
평균입니다.
Very expensive.
굉장히 비싸졌어요. Tell us
Right.
more.
So what happened was thousands of migrants began to arrive in New York back in 2022, and they were put in hotels that were still struggling to recover from the pandemic-driven downturn in tourism because no one was traveling during that time. So these dozens of hotels, they basically closed to tourists and began exclusively sheltering these migrants. They struck deals with the city, and they say that about 135 of the city's roughly 680 hotels entered this shelter program. So about 65,000 migrants are currently being sheltered in these hotels or tent dormitories and other shelters because of the city's legal obligation to provide a bed to anyone who needs one. So now, 2 years in, tourism is booming. People
Right.
are returning to the city, and there are no hotel rooms.
Exactly.
So this is driving up the price, as we mentioned, to an average of about over $300 per night, and they say that that's up 8.5% from back in 2022.
Sometimes I still find it hard to believe that the 3 years has passed where, a couple of years ago we were talking about how the tourism industry was really just going
Yeah,
downhill.
yeah.
And hotels, accommodation, depending on the region, but they weren't really getting a lot of guests and tourists. But now things are so different.
Yeah, they've
as you
bounced
said.
back.
Yeah, there's a tourism boom, as you said. And yet, in New York City, there's not enough hotel rooms.
Yeah.
A lot of tourists, they want to stay at the hotels, but because some of the hotels are exclusively housing migrants, they don't have enough rooms. That means the ones that are available are going to be very pricey. Let's look at exclusively.
Right. So exclusively, another word that could replace this is only or solely. So it's in a way limited to a single person. It could be a single group or category or method.
Right. exclusively 뭐뭐뭐 하다 그러면은 뭐뭐 전용 오로지 누구만 할 수 있다 이런 의미로 보시면 될 것 같은데요. 뉴욕에 있는 몇몇 호텔들이 지금 현재는 마이그런트들, 이민자들만 쓸 수 있는 그런 시설로 쓰이고 있어요. 이민자 전용 쉼터. So they are exclusively housing, that's a verb, migrants. 그러다 보니까 일반 관광객들이 쓸 수 있는 호텔 방들의 이제 숫자가 그만큼 부족하고 그래서 가격은 천정부지로 오르고 있는 겁니다. The lack of rooms is propelling the prices.
Right. So propelling, think about a propeller. So, when the propeller's when it's turning, it kind of causes something to move in a particular direction. So in our article, it means to push up or drive up.
그렇죠. 프로펠러를 써서 이렇게 움직이게 하는 것처럼 무언가를 몰고 갈 때 propelling 한다라고 합니다. 그래서 현재 방 부족 사태가 가격을 올라가도록 몰고 간다. 이런 의미가 되겠습니다. Here's the headline again. New York City hotel rooms are averaging over $300 a night, as many hotels exclusively house migrants, reducing supply during a tourism boom and propelling the nightly cost of an average room to record levels. Now let's check our final headline.
The Colombian government has started exploring a sunken 18th century Spanish galleon dubbed the Holy Grail of Shipwrecks, which was laden with gold, silver, and emeralds, estimated to be worth billions of dollars.
수십억 달러 가치로 보이는 금과 은 그리고 에메랄드가 실려 있어 그간 난파선계의 성배로 불려온 18세기 스페인 보물선에 가라앉은 잔해에 대해 콜롬비아 정부가 탐사 작업을 개시했습니다. First of all, tell us about this, and we'll get into the details about how it's not necessarily Colombia who has the rights to this. But first of all, tell us,
Yeah, so as you mentioned, this ship, the ownership of this ship remains contested.
Right.
Yes, and it was carrying one of the largest hauls of valuables ever lost at sea when it was attacked just outside of the Colombian city of Cartagena by the British Royal Navy back in 1708. So as we mentioned, it's estimated to be laden with as much much as $20 billion in treasure. And at the time, they say this vessel had been transporting its precious cargo to the Spanish king to help pay for its war against the British. That's why its ownership remains contested, because everyone who is kind of affiliated says that they have a piece in this.
Right.
So they're saying there's been a long-standing legal dispute over who owns the contents of
Exactly.
this ship.
Yeah.
The U.S. salvage company Sea Search Armada is one of the parties laying claim to it. Spain has laid claim to it because they were
a Spanish galleon,
were transporting cargo to the Spanish
Right.
king. And of course, it was found in the Colombia, or it was found outside of Colombia, so they're also claiming ownership to it as well. So Colombia has declared the waters near that area a protected archaeological area. So the first stage of this research project, they said they're not going to excavate anything, but they're just going to send in underwater robots to check what's there, to inform academic studies, and then they'll see what they can do afterwards.
자, 1708년이었습니다. 이 배가 가라앉았던 것이. 근데 사실은 이제 스페인의 그런 그 대형 범선이에요. 갈리언이라고 하는데, 그러다 보니까 스페인은 우리 거다. 우리가 가서 그 보물이 있는지 탐사를 해야 된다라고 하고 있지만, 이게 가라앉은 지역이요.
Yeah.
콜롬비아의 해저였습니다. 그러니까 콜롬비아는 아니다. 우리 바다에
It's in
있는
our
거니까
territory.
우리 거다.
Yeah.
이렇게 얘기를 하고 있어서 그래서 지금 몇백 년 동안 계속 이 누가 가서 탐사를 과연 해도 되는 것이냐 가지고 여전히 지금 뭐 결론이 나지 않고 있어요.
Yeah.
그렇지만 이제 콜롬비아 정부가 우리는 탐사를 시작하겠다라고 발표를 한 겁니다. 이 범선의 이름은 산호세이고요. 대형 범선인데 영어로 galleon이라고 하죠. Tell
Yeah.
us about this.
Yeah, a galleon is a sailing ship in use, especially by Spain from the 15th through 17th centuries, originally as a warship, but later for trade.
갈리언이라는 게 구체적으로 15세기에서 17세기에 사용됐던 스페인의 대형 범선을 말합니다. 그래서 뭐 boat, ship 이런 말을 쓰지 않고 Spanish galleon이라고 얘기를 하고 있어요. 그런데 여기에 정말 많은 보물이 실려 있었대요. 그러다 보니까 닉네임이 바로 난파선계의 성배, the holy grail of shipwrecks라고 합니다.
Yeah. If you are, or if something is the holy grail of something, it's something that everyone is looking for.
Yeah.
It's a thing that's eagerly pursued or sought after, something that people want and are looking for, but is extremely difficult to find or get.
Absolutely. 너무나 얻고 싶지만 손에 넣기 힘든 진귀한 것을 성배, holy grail이라고 말합니다. 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. The Colombian government has started exploring a sunken 18th century Spanish galleon dubbed the Holy Grail of Shipwrecks, which was laden with gold, silver, and emeralds, estimated to be worth billions of dollars. And that's it for the headlines.
The nation's total fertility rate, or the average number of children born to a woman over her lifetime, dropped to an all-time low of 0.76 in the first quarter of the year.
여성 한 명이 평생 낳을 것으로 예상되는 자녀의 수를 가리키는 합계 출산율이 우리나라 올해 1분기의 경우 역대 최저치인 0.76명으로 떨어졌습니다. So it's under 0.8 now.
It sure is, and it fell 0.06 from the first quarter of last year.
Yeah.
When we're looking at quarterly readings, this is the lowest recorded ever for a first quarter since they started compiling this data in the 80s.
Yeah, and I understand that generally speaking, the birth rate is higher at the start of the year and then it gets lower at the end of the year. So if it's already 0.76, we're expecting the average to be quite low at the end of 2024.
It's likely to go down.
Yeah,
Wow, right?
yeah.
The number of babies born in the first quarter was down 6.2% compared to last year. So quite a drop. And here's some other interesting stats. The number of couples getting married in the first quarter fell 5.5%.
Wow.
However, a little bit of good news here. Those getting divorced also fell
Okay.
9.8% in the first quarter compared to the first quarter of 2023.
Okay.
So less
interesting.
divorces, less marriages, less divorces, less babies.
Yeah, well, we are looking at the absolute numbers, though, aren't we? So I don't know if we look at it relatively speaking, that's less percentage of people getting divorced, but it's definitely less people getting divorced. So less, as you said, less people getting married, less people
People
getting divorced.
I was just trying
Yeah.
to find some silver lining to this story.
And you did, and I was being very, well, I don't know, more critical or realistic. I don't know.
I don't know.
Let's have a look at our first expression, which is the average number.
The average number. So when we're looking at averages, this is if you add two or more amounts, like in this case, we'd be looking at tens of thousands, and then you add up all those numbers, and then you divide it by the number of things. The number of the number of numbers is how is a very confusing way of explaining an average.
그렇죠? 평균 수를 average number라고 합니다.
It's much easier just to give the Korean word for that than
Yeah.
explain what an average is. But
Yeah.
if we say something is average, right? You go to a restaurant, oh, how was the food? Oh, it was
it's average.
It's just
그냥-
right in the
그냥
middle.
그랬어. Yeah,
right in the
yeah,
middle.
맞아.
Nothing special, but
Yeah.
not terrible either.
Yeah, exactly. 그냥 뭐 보통이었어 라고 할 때 food was average 이렇게 말하거든요. 네, average라는 단어 자체는 평균이지만 이렇게 회화에서는 그냥 뭐 그랬어. It's okay. 그냥 보통 이런 의미로 많이 씁니다.
You know, in some schools, like in high school, they'll give you like A, B, C, or D. Like that's how it is, like in the U.S. I believe,
tests?
yeah, or just like your report card.
Oh,
you
yeah.
You get that,
Sure.
or grade point average is a big thing
Yeah.
they talk about in the U.S. In Canada, we just talk about your average.
Oh, okay.
So in high school, your grades, it's not A, B, C, D. It's a number. So over 50 is a pass.
Okay.
Over 80 is like considered an A. So then you look at your 5 or 6 classes, add up all your numbers, divide by say 6 if you have 6 classes, and then that's your average.
네.
And that's the number we would quote to
You
people.
just say average.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what was your average this semester?
아, 그렇군요. 그 평균 성적을 말하는 거죠. 그래서 GPA라고 하는데 Grade Point Average인데요. 캐나다에서는 그냥 이것도 줄여가지고 What's your average? 이렇게 얘기를 한대요. 그러면은 평균 성적이 뭐냐 이런 의미가 되겠고.
So if your average is like 75, then
Yeah.
normally you're kind of in that middle range. But if your average was over 80, you were considered honor roll.
Interesting. Yeah. I remember when I was in secondary school in England, we graded with high distinction, and then I don't remember the rest.
Of course, in England, they have to make it confusing, right?
So you had HD, which was the best.
Okay.
It's like A plus kind
Sure.
of thing. And then D, which is kind of like A or B plus kind of thing. And then you went down and down and down.
It's funny how in England they created the alphabet, but then make it more confusing. It's like, hey, no. Let's do H, D, F, G, K. That'll be easy.
That was my school. I don't know
was
if
it?
it
Okay.
was every single school,
Oh,
but
all right.
but
I imagine
yeah.
it would be.
Could
Or
be.
Could be.
Yeah. I think in Korea we also do A, B, C, D these days. But in the past it didn't.
Okay.
They had a different grading system
Sure.
back then. Okay. 자, 평점 얘기도 했었고, average가 들어가면 평균의 뭐뭐뭐라는 의미인데요. 그 다음으로 볼 표현은 an all-time low입니다.
The lowest ever. So all-time high would be the highest ever.
그렇죠. 역대 최저치. 그럼 반대로 역대 최고치는 an all-time high 이렇게 표현하면 됩니다. 자, 헤드라인 제가 다시 읽어볼게요. The nation's total fertility rate, or the average number of children born to a woman over her lifetime, dropped to an all-time low of 0.76 in the first quarter of the year. Let's move on to the second headline.
Incheon International Airport is projected to become the world's third largest airport once its fourth phase of development is completed by the end of this year, potentially accommodating over 100 million international passengers annually.
인천국제공항은 현재 진행 중인 4단계 건설 공사가 올해 말 마무리되는 대로 연간 1억 명 이상의 국제선 승객을 수용하는 세계 3위 공항이 될 것으로 예상됩니다. So in terms of how big it is, Incheon is set to be number 3 pretty soon.
Yeah, right. It's so that will be behind Dubai International Airport and Istanbul Airport, which was kind of, the Dubai one made sense to me. Istanbul, I was a little surprised by, but I guess, it's right, Europe and the Middle East. So
Sure.
that kind of makes sense there. So this as we mentioned in the headline, this fourth phase of development, it took 7 years and 4.8 trillion won.
Okay.
It started back in 2017, and as of April, it was 95% complete. So they're saying it could be completed. They're looking at November as sort of the earliest to have this completed.
11월이면은 이 4단계 공사가 마무리된다라고 합니다. 그러면 이제 규모로 봤을 때는 세계 3위가 된다 이런 얘기가 되겠죠. 그래서 1억 600만 명을 수용할 수 있는 공항이 된다고 합니다. I already love Incheon
Right.
for its facilities,
Sure.
but now it's going to get bigger. More people will be able to enjoy it, and that's because the fourth phase of development is almost complete.
Yeah, and when that happens, they're saying they'll be able to accommodate 106 million passengers,
Yeah.
which is nearly a 38% increase from the current 77 million.
Wow,
So it's going to be
there you
it's going to be
go.
a lot busier.
Right.
And they also mentioned in this article that I read, a lot of this development comes at the same time as many other neighboring countries are also expanding their big airports. So there's a lot of competition for it to be an international hub,
Yeah.
is what they call it. So Hong Kong is expanding, Singapore is expanding, Shanghai is expanding, Narita Airport in Japan. These are all under construction, and they all hope to be able to accommodate around 130 million passengers annually. But their development isn't expected to be completed until later in the 2030s. So
okay.
Incheon's going to have a huge jump on them.
Yeah, absolutely. We're way ahead in terms of, how far we've come.
Right, oh,
And,
yeah. Right.
It's almost complete. You mentioned a few expressions there. The first one we'll look at is the phase of development.
A phase of something is a stage or a step. So we
Yeah.
talk about it a lot with kids too.
Yes, yeah.
They're going through a phase. Maybe they're fighting a lot or arguing or I don't know, whatever.
Maybe they're just saying no to everything.
Saying
or-
no to
yeah.
everything or crying a lot. Who knows what it
It's
can
a
be.
phase.
It's a phase, right? It'll pass.
맞아요. 자, 아이들에 대해서 아이들이 왜 그런 시기들이 있잖아요. 옛날에는 뭐 얄미운 7살이라고 했지만 요즘은 뭐 그 얄미운 5살, 뭐 4살 이렇게 많이 연령대가 내려가기는 했던데 그런 시기를 영어로는 그냥 it's a phase 이렇게 말합니다. PHASE. 그리고 사춘기도 마찬가지고 반항을 하고 그냥 다 싫다고 하는 요 시기가 있으니까요. Don't worry about it. It's just a phase. They'll get over it. 이렇게 말할 수 있어요. 단계라는 의미인데 자, 여기서는 공항 공사 4단계 The fourth phase of development for Incheon International Airport라는 표현이 나왔습니다. And once it's done, they'll be able to accommodate a lot more people than they currently do.
That's right. They're going to have, when we say we use accommodate this way, it means they have the space and the facilities to handle that many people,
Yeah.
to serve that many people. So we'll talk about buildings or a school or a hotel. How many people, how many guests, how many students they can accommodate. Meaning,
sure.
if it's not big enough, then they can't have more. They can only have that number. So it might say, for example, you might see this school can accommodate 500 students.
Right.
Or the gymnasium can accommodate 500 students, for
Yeah.
example.
Pop singers, when they have concerts,
Yep.
they go to stadiums or concert venues that can accommodate
20, 50,000
Yeah.
people.
There you go.
Exactly. Now, if we use it as an adjective and say somebody is being accommodating, that means they're doing their best to help you and make you comfortable. So that's where you'll hear that.
Right.
The hotel staff was,
So
they were so
accommodating.
accommodating. They did
Really
everything
nice.
they can for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, exactly.
You might also hear accommodation. You'll hear that a lot. In the US, people will tend to say accommodations. In the UK, people will say accommodation. It just means, usually we're talking about a hotel, a
Yep.
place where you stay. When you travel, have you sorted out your accommodations yet?
accommodate의 3가지 용법을 설명해 주셨네요. 자, 일단 동사 accommodate는 몇 명을 수용하다라는 의미고요. 그다음에 accommodating이라는 형용사를 쓰게 되면은 굉장히 그 고객들을 잘 환영해주고 환대해주는 그런 시설을 얘기하죠. 그다음에 accommodation은 숙박시설입니다. 이걸 다 한 문장으로 넣을 수 있을 것 같아요. This accommodation was so accommodating and they could accommodate 100 guests. 이렇게
That all makes sense.
그렇게 말할 수 있습니다.
Yeah.
자, 다시 한번 제가 헤드라인을 읽어보겠습니다.
Good sentence.
Thank you. Incheon International Airport is projected to become the world's third largest airport once its fourth phase of development is completed by the end of this year, potentially accommodating over 100 million international passengers annually.
The Shindong neighborhood, Yeouido, and Jeju Island were the most popular tourist destinations for foreign visitors in 2023 and in the first quarter of this year, according to a big data analysis by the Korea Tourism Organization.
네, 한국관광공사의 빅데이터 분석에 따르면 작년부터 올해 1분기까지 외국인 관광객 사이에서 가장 인기 있었던 관광지가 서울 신당동과 여의도 그리고 제주도인 것으로 나타났습니다. Tell us more, Ray.
Very interesting. We were just talking about this in the break that
Yeah.
it seems that over the last decade, a lot of the tourist destinations, the hotspots have changed.
Yeah,
You know, we'd be Insadong would have been one we would have seen. or-
Myeongdong,
right. Haeundae and Busan,
Sure.
right? These kind of things. But yeah, now it's, Shindang for shopping. You've got Yeouido again for shopping
yeah.
because of the massive department store that was just built there that has a lot of like pop-up stores. So a lot of young people and a lot of foreigners want to do that. And a lot of those pop-up shops, they feature different K-pop stars. So I think there's a lot of that.
Right.
I wonder, and my guess would be a lot of these places must pop up on dramas, K-dramas. So
Yeah.
people want to go and see that and
Yeah.
experience where the characters in the shows go.
Right, and I would imagine influencers as well on social media.
Yeah,
They
that's-
probably show the area, and then that makes other people want to visit.
Right, that's the way it's going these days. But yeah, so that's what we're seeing. A lot of some, Jeju's no surprise, but maybe the other
Yeah.
two locations a little bit like, really? That's where tourists are trying to go?
Exactly. Let's get right into the main expression, which is tourist destination.
Tourist hotspots, places that tourists want to go.
Tourist hotspot라고도 합니다. HOTSPOT. 관광객들이 많이 가는 곳이란 뜻이죠.
So we have tourist destinations. That's a whole place. A lot of times in a tourist destination, there are tourist attractions.
Yeah.
Something that people want to go and do or see or experience or taste, for
That's right.
example.
네, tourist destination이 훨씬 광범위하기는 합니다. 자, 그다음에 이제 big data, which is in Korean big data.
Oh, really? That's confusing. Okay. Right. Extremely large amounts of data. And then when it's analyzed,
Yeah.
now using AI because just simple, people can't analyze this much data.
Right.
And even computer systems that we've had for years aren't complex enough to handle this. So now it's with the rise of AI, now you'll hear big data more because the AI systems can analyze it. And when they do, this can reveal patterns and trends.
Yeah.
A lot of the times it'll show us things about human behavior, what people do, where people are going.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe a little bit of information as to why they're going to different places.
We can find out so much more. 이 빅데이터, 방대한 양의 데이터죠. 기존의 데이터베이스로는 분석할 수 없었던 것을 이제 요즘에는 할 수가 있는데 그런 데이터를 가지고 분석했더니 관광객들이 요즘에는 특히 작년과 올 1분기엔 가장 많이 찾은 곳이 신당동과 여의도와 제주도였다고 합니다.
And a lot of big data, it's collected from different places that you maybe wouldn't think of, but it makes sense though. So a lot of big data is collected from publicly shared information, like comments on social media or websites, data that's voluntarily gathered from personal electronics and apps and questionnaires and product purchases and
Yeah.
when people do electronic check-ins. So they're using all this information and putting all this into the system to figure out what people are doing.
Absolutely. Let me read the headline again. The Shindang neighborhood, Yeouido and Jeju Island were the most popular tourist destinations for foreign visitors in 2023 and in the first quarter this year, according to a big data analysis by the Korea Tourism Organization. Let's move on to the next headline.
Mexicans are likely to elect their first female president as 2 women lead the race for the top job, which is set to be decided on Sunday.
오는 일요일에 있을 멕시코 대선에서 두 여성 후보가 유력 주자로 나서면서 멕시코 역사상 첫 여성 대통령이 탄생할 가능성이 높아졌습니다. Wow, tell us more.
Well, they're saying this election, it will be historic, especially if one of these women becomes president. But they're also saying it will be the biggest election in Mexico's history. There are more than 20,000 congressional and local positions up for grabs. So this has been it's going to be a historic election. But also, though, there's been a lot of violence leading up to this election.
Yeah.
A number of now it's gangs and cartels. We use the word cartel a lot for Mexican gangs. They're drug gangs. They've it's been a bit of a turf war. They're saying more than 20 people who have been seeking political office this year have been killed.
Yeah, exactly. So they're saying that this election is a pretty dangerous one for the candidates.
It sure sounds like it.
Yeah.
The two front runners. You've got the former mayor of Mexico City, Claudia Sheinbaum. She's maintained a comfortable double-digit lead in polls for months, and she promises a continuation of Manuel Lopez Obrador's populist policies, and she's backed by his party. And then you've got an opposition senator. She's a tech entrepreneur. Her name is Xochitl Galvez. I believe I'm pronouncing that somewhat similar. And she represents a coalition of parties that really, historically, have not been united. But now they're becoming united because of their opposition to the ruling party, to Lopez Obrador.
Well, the election is on the 2nd of June, which is this coming weekend, Sunday. And we'll find out. All right. The first expression here is someone or two people are leading the race.
It means they're currently in first place. In this case, lead the race. Scheinbaum's first and Galvez is second, but they're still in the lead. So if you look at any table or any standings, any professional sports, who's leading the race, who's currently in first place, but it doesn't mean the competition or the season or the election is over yet.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
just at the moment.
특히 이런 선거에 관해서는 race라는 표현을 많이 써요. 영어에서. 그래서 lead the race라는 것은 대선 대선주자라는 의미가 되겠고 join the race 그러면은 이제 대선 후보가 됐다라는 의미가 되고요. 네, 이게 뭐 달리기에 비유를 많이 합니다. 그다음에 top job라는 게 뭐죠?
In this case, we're talking about becoming the president. The top job is the highest job you can get in a country or an organization as well.
Exactly. The top job for our team would be the chief producer.
Right.
But of course, in a country, we're talking about the president.
That's right.
여기서는 이제 가장 높은 위치에 있는 사람을 말하니까 이 대선의 경우에는 대통령직을 말하겠죠. 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Mexicans are likely to elect their first female president as 2 women lead the race for the top job, which is set to be decided on Sunday. Now here's our final headline.
A Chilean mother has walked over 1,000 kilometers on foot to raise money to cover the medication costs for her 5-year-old son, who is suffering from a rare and severe genetic disorder.
칠레의 한 어머니가 희귀 난치성 유전 질환을 앓고 있는 아들의 약값을 마련하기 위해 지금까지 1,000km가 넘는 거리를 걸으며 모금 운동을 해온 것으로 알려졌습니다. In many Western countries, they do walks or runs to raise money. I don't see it happening that much in Korea, but just a little background info for our listeners there. 외국에서는 모금 행사를 하기 위해서 이렇게 걷거나 달리는 경우가 많아요. 어릴 때부터도 외국에서 아이들은 이제 뭐 이런저런 이유로 모금 행사를 하게 되면은 제가 800m를 뛸 겁니다. 그러면 후원해 주세요. 이러면서 아이들이 주변 분들에게 얘기를 하거든요. 네, 그런 맥락이라고 보시면 되겠습니다. 물론 굉장히 긴 거리지만요. So tell us more, Ray.
Well, this mother, she's 32 years old from Chile, Camilla Gomez. She's walked over 1,000 kilometers for the past month to raise money for her 5-year-old son. Her destination is the capital, Santiago. When she reaches there this week, she's actually scheduled to meet with the Chilean president
Okay.
about this. And she plans to give him a letter detailing all the challenges that patients and families who deal with rare diseases face. She intends to use the funds that she's raised to seek specialized medical care for her son in the United States. Her son has something called Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and this affects muscles and nerve function. It also makes the disease also significantly weakens muscles, and it makes walking and daily activities extremely difficult. She set out on this journey to raise 3.5 billion pesos, which is about 5 billion won,
I see.
just under $5 million. So it's a lot of money.
그렇습니다. 4월 28일부터 걷기 시작했대요. 지금도 여전히 걷고 있으니까 지금 한 달이 넘은 거죠. 그리고 목적지는 산티아고. 거기서 이제 대통령과도 만나서 네, 이런 상황입니다라고 설명을 할 예정이라고 합니다. 자, she's doing this to raise money, and that's going to cover the costs.
Hopefully, if something covers the costs, it means there's enough money to pay for something. A lot of times you'll ask or you'll request or you'll demand if you feel you've been wronged by a company, for example, and you've had to pay money. Oh, you need to cover the costs for this. You need to cover my cost.
그렇죠. cover costs는 비용을 대다, 비용을 충당하다라는 뜻이 되겠습니다. Her son has a genetic disorder.
Right. So genetic disorders, they happen when there's a mutation to DNA.
그렇죠. 유전적인 질환, genetic disorder입니다. 구체적으로는 이제 근육신경계통의 희귀 질환을 앓고 있다고 하는데요. 그래서 이렇게 모금 행사를 하고 있다고 합니다. Well, here's the headline again. A Chilean mother has walked over 1,000 kilometers on foot to raise money to cover the medication costs for her 5-year-old son, who is suffering from a rare and severe genetic disorder. And that's it for today's headlines.